It has been another year since I filmed a fish tank update, a saltwater fish tank update on this. Just over a year. Last time I filmed this update, it was August 6th, and today it's August 12th, so cleaned up the glass yesterday, looking all nice and new. So I decided today's probably another good day to film a new update. This tank's been up for probably 4 or 5 years now. Really all low maintenance stuff. We'll kind of go over the livestock first, and then I'll go down to under the cabinet and we'll take a look at the actual setup portion. So still have pretty much all the same fish: yellow tang, Niger trigger, purple tang, sailfin tang, 2 clownfish, a blue tang, and then my porcupine pufferfish. He's kind of the personality of the tank. I did lose the yellow chorus wrasse that I had in here, and the urchins. Haven't seen any urchins for a while. I'm guessing he probably ate them. But let's go over what we have for coral now. Then we'll go ahead and we'll feed the fish, because right now you can tell that they are definitely waiting to be fed. So got a big devil's finger leather back there, a lot of frags on the frag rack, some toadstool, neon green signularia, a couple mushrooms up here, and a lot of Kenya tree. So the Kenya tree here likes to break off and kind of float all over the tank, so I'm trying to keep that from going everywhere. You know, there's a couple down here, and then right back here, it's kind of where they like to sit to when they break off. But they're not completely opened up quite yet. The lights just came on this tank, so stuff is just starting to come out. We kind of tell this with the toadstool. Polyps are just starting to come out, and this one hasn't came out yet either. These are just starting to come out too. So down here, a lot more mushrooms, purple, orange mushrooms. Right up there at the top is a one of those large cinnamon grande palizoas. And now move over here. Large toadstool. These are pulsing zinnia. They're not pulsing right now though. They usually get quite a bit of flow, so that's probably why they're not pulsing as much. A lot of green star polyp. I love the green star polyp, but it definitely starts taking over a tank really fast. Nether, devil's finger leather, neon green signularia, also another neon green signularia up there. 2 toadstools, and then a neon green toadstool up there. Kind of seeing how these interact. It would be kind of cool if they ended up growing together, but they're probably not the same species, so that probably won't happen. There's also a devil's finger leather back there, and then another type of signularia, large signularia back there. A couple of Kenya trees there, and then a lot of green star polyp again. So as for, that's all the livestock. Corals as well. Corals are considered livestock as well. Now as for the setup, I have an MP40 power head on this side and one over here on this side. They're anti-sink, so they will move the water back and forth. And then down here I have the intake for the canister filter, and the output is down here on this side, and then a heater right here. Don't really need the heater anymore. It's still in there from the winter time. Haven't taken it out yet. Let's go take a look underneath the cabinets now though. So over here on the left, have an ATO tank that usually lasts about 14 days, about 2 weeks it'll last before that goes empty. And I just have that with a peristaltic pump coming into right back here in the back of the tank. So I have that set up that it will keep this tank at the perfect level. Right now it's a little low because the ATO actually ran out, so I ended up just filling that up yesterday as well. The apex, I have a pH and temperature probe back here in that holder. Back down to the bottom though, I have the controller for one of the MP40s, FX4 canister filter. However, I took the impeller off of the canister filter because I have a Core 20 that is actually pulling the flow through the canister filter. So I know it's kind of hard to see, but here's the output of the canister filter, and that comes down into the Core 20 there, and then comes over here into this canister. This is a plexiglass canister that I ended up making and put 3 marine pure blocks in here. Starting to look a little bit dirty now, but this is kind of, I think, the key to what has made this tank really low maintenance. There's definitely a lot of bacteria in here that is decomposing any waste material in here, since there is no sand substrate in the bottom of this tank. And then over here on the side is the Apex and the Core 20 controller. And then out of this plexiglass container, that goes back up to the output over here in the tank. So that's pretty much it from a hardware perspective. I use the Fishmate F14 feeders. Let me grab one of those. So these are usually the feeders that I use when we go on vacation or are gone for a couple days. I'll just fill this up, and then the fish will have 14 days of food. Can fill up each one of those individual wells so that they actually have metered food release. So we're able to leave this tank for 2 weeks without doing any maintenance on it. I do usually still have some people come and check on it, and I do have a camera that focuses on the tank so that I can kind of see it when I'm not here. I'm going to go ahead and feed them real quick, but actually let's take a look over here at the Apex Fusion interface, and I'll show you a little bit of the details here. So I kind of have everything on the EB832 power bar. Kind of see everything here. Not using every single one, like the heater. That is never kicking on right now, because as you can see, my temperature is really soaring right now. It's 84.5 degrees Fahrenheit inside the tank. That is really high. So yesterday we reached up about that high too, and then it hit nighttime and started dropping down. We don't have air conditioner in the house, so we're just in our bedroom, so it's kind of hard to keep the temperature down with how hot it is out right now. So I usually try to open up the windows at night and cool down the tank as much as possible, but this last few nights it's been really hot outside, so hopefully the next couple days we'll be able to keep this tank down. When it does get up this high, I usually throw some ice cubes in a pitcher though, and just toss that in the fish tank to keep the temperature under control. I did try using plastic Ziploc bags with ice before, and that cooled the tank down a lot faster. But the porcupine puffer likes to try to eat the ice cubes through it and poke holes in it, and the ice that I'm using is just out of the freezer that is chlorinated from the city water, so that's not good. So now I'm just using a pitcher to kind of hold that ice while it melts, and then I dump it out and can refill it. I have the left Vortec MP40 off right now because we're going to go ahead and feed them. And you kind of see how the pH goes and increases quite a bit when the lights are on, and then at night it decreases down to about 7.77. So Core 20 is running about 34 watts. Temperature is about 54%, 2500 RPM. And this is how much energy this AB832 bar is using here. So everything's looking pretty good. We're flowing at 136, I believe this is gallons per minute through the Core 20. I have a flow meter on that side of it as well, I forgot to mention. So let's swing back around now and feed the fish. So they eat pellets, a lot of these pellets. So right now I'm just gonna feed them the LG Max pellets. I do also feed them some other pellets that I'll show you in a little while, but let's drop some of these in here right now and watch them eat. The porcupine puffer, once he notices there's food in here, he goes really crazy. Yeah, you can kind of see what I mean. There goes all the food off the top of the water. Maybe we'll be able to feed him again and watch that from underneath the water. Takes him a little while to notice that the food's there, but once he does, usually takes one big gulp and is able to eat all that. So I also feed them freeze-dried shrimp every now and then. Let me grab the rest of the food. So this is the baby shrimp that I'm feeding him. So usually put a couple of those on top of the water, and yeah, one gulp and they're gone. And then I have some pellets that are more designed for carnivores. So we'll put a few of these pellets in there too. These are more pellets for the kind of clownfish and the Niger trigger. May have dumped a little too much in there. It's a little more than I usually dump in there. but you can tell how they love these pellets. I'm glad that I do have them on pellets because it's really easy to add that to that fish mate feeder and just meter how much I'm feeding them every single day. Usually feed them every other day as well, so didn't feed them yesterday, won't feed them tomorrow, but the next day I will go ahead and feed them again. So I think, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say that you have a favorite fish, but the most entertaining fish in this tank is definitely this porcupine puffer fish. If I don't feed him and I'm working over here in the top of the tank, he will sometimes spit water out at me. And then I forgot to mention up here though, a couple more frags, some Kenya tree, mushroom, and then I do still have a couple black widow anemones, so there's one of them. So algae really likes to grow in that basket there, so it's kind of understandable none of these tangs are up in there able to keep all the algae down like they do in this bottom portion of the tank. So a couple more frags up there, but the tank is still looking good. For not having did any water changes in 4 or 5 years, it's pretty amazing that it still looks this great. Would be interesting to send an ICP test in again. It's probably been 2-3 years since I did that, and see what kind of chemicals there are and elements there are in this fish tank after, you know, not doing any water changes in that amount of time. I don't even do any testing to see what the water is. But I do know my nitrates and phosphates have been really low. They're always usually really low. I kind of think that that's why it was kind of hard to keep SPS. I actually had to dose nitrates in there. Softies are doing fine. The softies grow good in anything. But yeah, that is kind of a tour and update on the 120 gallon saltwater fish tank of mine. So if you guys got any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I read them all and reply to every single person. So thanks for watching.